I'm here with Anila Dubani, one of our students in holistic EFT certification training. She had a question which I thought was very relevant, not only to her, but to other people. And she's in Dubai. Alina?
Hi, Philip. I think, when it comes to holistic healing and when I started on this journey, one of the things that I noticed, especially because I'm quite new with working with clients, is that, when you have 30 to 40 minutes, sometimes they come up with more issues or a deeper rooted issue that not always can get cleared out. And I guess my question is, how do I make sure that I just don't open up Pandora's box and that once we finish the session in 30 minutes, it's kind of tucked into a nice place till I see them again, just to make sure none of these issues kind of resurface, if there is a week or two between the different sessions that I have with my clients.
That's an excellent question, and I'm glad you brought it up. And many people face that. And that's something that you do need to be aware of if you're working with people, that there is a time limit, clearly. And you, as the practitioner, you're actually the time manager. The other person isn't there, doesn't realize, how long things might take, and you have a better sense of it, you as the practitioner. So that's part of the role. And second is, the more you train in things like holistic EFT and the arts of healing, the better, of course, you become at helping people and getting a sense of all of this. Third, I want to mention that you may need to go longer than originally anticipated. So to allow time, if you're working with someone, maybe it's going to go instead of an hour, it'll be an hour and 20 minutes or so, if you feel that's needed. So that's another possibility in addressing things that come up. And they do. I mean, there are layers of things, and you may get a certain amount, a certain chunk, but
Yeah.
more remains. And then you want to get a feel of when is a good closure time, as your question indicated. So
Mhm.
besides being the time manager, getting better as you practice more and maybe allowing more time, um, another thing I often do, and Jane, we often do, is say we see 10 or 15 minutes left, we've come to a certain point where we feel like this is a good closure. Instead of opening the door to something else, and if
Mhm.
there is a kind of possibility, we may say we'll get to that in the next session, is to go into
Mhm.
something else. We have a lot of strategies, and you may want to have strategies to help people, coaching strategies. We have like a love and happiness little ebook and 10 tips and things such as that, and especially things relevant to the client and your niche or whatever you're helping the person on. Did
Mhm.
you, uh, Anila, do you have any comments or questions thus far? I gave a kind of several, and I have one more.
No, I think this really helps because when I started working on myself initially, obviously time was all I had, so I made sure that the issues were kind of cleared off, and I did a bit of meditation at the end, so I ended off the session for myself very relaxed. I think when it comes to other people, you're absolutely right. I think being conscious about the time. And I was thinking perhaps towards the end, maybe this is something that I also wanted to check with you, is the miracle affirmations, for example,
Miracle
or
reframe with EFT
yes,
that we do,
yes,
the
exactly.
holistic approach.
The holistic approach, exactly. Something like that is what I was thinking I could end with, because I
Mm-hmm.
realize it ends on a pretty high note compared to,
Yes.
once you finish EFT, the minute the issue is resolved, I think that's fine. But when something else comes up, and if I don't have that time, trying to reframe it or trying to be, suggest these affirmations where they're open to miracles is probably where I can leave them in a place where I know they're okay and that they're also happy leaving, I guess, the conversation. So I just wanted to get your input as well. Would that help in terms of closing off the session and sort of tying it off in case we haven't really reached to the root cause?
Right. Yes, that would be excellent. As again, ending on an up note, maybe reviewing what you did in the session and emphasizing some of the insights and positives, and the miracle reframe. Anything is possible, and miracles are happening now with the EFT tapping. Are there other ways you can add that affirmation into? Would be an excellent closer. ending, as you said, on a positive up note, high note. That's great point, Anila. One last comment I want to address on this question about sort of managing your time is some people are more affected by what we might call victim consciousness. They have that kind of defense mechanism stronger in them to protect
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And if so, then it's just they're kind of looking for more and more things. You know, you clear all the things and then they're going to have another one, kind of a rope-a-dope, just the next thing, the jack in the box that just pops up again. So if in the case you're dealing with someone who has a strong sort of victim mentality built in, go to protective, that can be challenging, and that needs to be addressed sort of at the core if the person is even willing to go there, just to realize that this is like a larger pattern that needs to be addressed, that, you know, we're never going to finish until we get a better handle on that victim false personality protective measure that the person might have.
Yeah, and actually, because you mentioned that, one of the things I've also noticed is some people forget, that we're working on an issue, and they'll say, "Oh, but I don't have this issue anymore." So I make sure, I have notes with me, and I do the SUD level as well, so that I can tell them, this was the level you were at, now you're at this level. But I can see, yes, in some people, because of the defensiveness, and I feel sometimes maybe they're not ready to let go, and this
Right.
is probably where we don't get to the right issue. We kind of go around in circles. Um, but, I think this is just the beginning for me. With practice, I'm sure I'll be able to, deal with different people at different levels. But definitely in terms of making sure that I follow the process of holistic EFT, that has helped a lot. The reset process has helped tremendously. I've added in a little bit of the reframing, the breakthrough process. So I'm trying out different things, and I know people also respond differently to the different processes. So I think at the moment it's just trying to listen to my intuition and gut, and once I speak to the client, I try and figure out, okay, what's the best process that I could help them with. So everything that I've kind of learned so far has really helped, not only practicing with other people, but I think in terms of understanding my own issues. And as per the course, I know that usually people finish it up in maybe 2 months or 3 months, but it took me a really long time to just work on myself, because obviously that's the prerequisite before we can even work with clients. And I think uncovering a lot of walls that I had for healing, maybe not being open to EFT at the beginning. And I think because I've uncovered those on myself, I can start seeing little patterns or conversations I have with other people who probably feel the same way. So definitely took me a lot longer, but I think I'm in a very good space in terms of, how I want to help other people as well.
Great, thanks. That was well said. And yes, many people are actually in a very similar situation as yours. And many people for the online EFT home study certification course take longer than 2 or 3 months. It can be done in 2 or 3 months if you steadily do it. But as you said, it may introduce some deeper layers that take some time. And it doesn't have to be done in 2 or 3 months. You go at your own pace, really. So sounds like you're doing fine. And many people are in a similar rate of completion. And it's not so much the time, it's the depth that is, I think, the most important. And the longer you do it, maybe the more it's going to integrate too in many cases.
Yeah, very true. I think practice definitely will get me to obviously another level in terms of how I'm able to quickly also understand the problem with the client. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Anila, for submitting that great question and your presence and your participation. And it sounds like you're doing well with the EFT online course and your career and where things are going in general. Great being with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye, Anila. Good luck. Look forward to your
Thank
completion.
you.